All right, so this is the near pod activity for Monday the 30th. We're going to be reviewing polynomial operations and solving proportions. So if you want to listen to the instructions, just hit play right there on your near pod. All right, there's some examples here for you guys to watch on your own. They're not here on this slide. So if you come here, you hit next, it's going to pop up. Okay, and here's a video that has some examples for you guys to watch on polynomial operation. All right, if it doesn't automatically pop up, just click the blue button right here. Remember, if you want to take notes and have everything sent to yourself, remember to click here and have it sent to your Google Drive. All right. All right, so the directions for what you're going to be completing today is you're going to be showing all your work using the draw-out feature, or upload an image of your work done on paper. And I'll show you that. Again, some people were having issues with that last time. So if you're having issues with uploading a picture, just use the draw-out feature. All right, and do the work right on the slide. All right, so here's where you're going to do your work. Again, if you have this button down here, okay, this button down here is going to let you put an image on. All right, so once it's on your computer, you could just browse and look for the image. Okay, if your Nearpod does not have that button, okay, you're going to use the draw out feature and do your work. Okay, so I'll do a couple examples throughout this. Okay, addition is the easiest of the operations. It's just combining like terms. All right, like terms have the same variable and the same exponent. Remember, you want to write your answer in standard form. You start with the highest exponent first, so you have 2x cubed plus x cubed, so that's 3x cubed. You know, and some people like to cross off when they've used it, so they know they used it. Then we're going x squared. I mean, and there's only one x squared in this problem, so that doesn't change. It's a positive, so plus 5x squared. And then my x is my linear terms. I have a negative x plus 7x, so that's 6x. And now I just have my constants, which is 9 plus 4, which is 13. So after adding these two polynomials, right, I get 3x cubed plus 5x squared plus 6x plus 13. So I got a cubic, okay, polynomial with 4 terms. Right, and then you guys just hit submit, and it takes you to the next problem. Okay, subtraction is a little bit harder. All right, there's a very common mistake where people forget to distribute this negative. It's minus the whole quadratic over here. So what I like to do is just take an extra second, okay, to rewrite it and distribute that negative sign. So I'm just going to distribute this to everything here. It changes the signs in this. So now it's minus x squared minus 6 plus x. And now it's just like the first problem, just combine my like terms. All right, so negative 2x squared minus x squared is negative 3x squared. I only have one x, so that stays plus x. And then I have two constants, 3 minus 6, right, is a negative 3. So I've used everything. So my simplified quadratic trinomial is negative 3x squared plus x minus 3. Hit submit. Okay, an addition one. So again, a little bit easier. You do not need to rewrite anything. All right, you just start with the largest exponent first, which is 16x cubed. There's only one of those. All right, then I'll go to my x squared. So I have negative 36x squared plus 6x squared. That's negative 30x squared. Then I have my linear terms, which I only have one, which is 6x. And then I have two constants, negative 11 minus 5 is negative 16. All right, so my final answer is 16x cubed minus 30x squared plus 6x minus 16. All right, subtraction. So again, I'm going to take the extra time to rewrite it. Okay, so 5x cubed plus 12 plus 6x squared minus 15x squared minus 3x plus 2. Now I just combine my like terms. And starting with the highest exponent first, so 5x cubed. There's only one x cubed term, so nothing to combine it with. I have two quadratic terms, 6x squared minus 15x squared. That's negative 9x squared. And I only have one linear term, minus 3x. Then I have two constant terms, 12 plus 2 is 14. So my final answer, 5x cubed minus 9x squared minus 3x plus 14. Hit submit. All right, now we're moving to multiplication. All right, so again, double distribute is a good way to remember. So I got to distribute this 5x to everything, and then I got to distribute the negative 5 to everything. All right, so if I do that, all right, 5x times 4x squared is 20x cubed. 5x times negative 2 is negative 10x squared. And 5x times negative 3 is negative 15x. Now I got to multiply the negative 5 by everything. All right. Some people like to just keep writing horizontal and then combine the like terms. Some people will line up their like terms as they multiply. So like this, like negative 5 times 4x is negative 20x squared. So I'll just line that up with my other x squared because I know I'm going to have to combine those. All right. Then negative 5 times negative 2x is positive 10x. Line that up there. And then negative 5 times negative 3 is negative 15, or positive 15, excuse me. And then we just add straight down. All right, so I get 20x cubed minus 30x squared minus 5x plus 15. All right, so I double distribute and then combine like terms. I have this cubic polynomial, 20x cubed minus 30x squared minus 5x plus 15. All right, so here's binomial times a binomial. All right, the shortcut word that we use to help us remember to multiply right here is FOIL, first, outer, inner, last. Again, it's just really double distribute. Okay, so I'm going to go 3m times 3m. All right, that's 9m squared. 3m times negative 5 is negative 15m. 3m times 3m is 9m. And 3m times negative 5 is negative 15. Again, combine my like term. 9m squared minus 6m minus 15. So this one says, put together to simplify, perform the operations in the correct order. So think order of operations, right, to simplify. So before I get add, I need to multiply, okay, together. So I need to multiply these two together. I need to multiply those two together, and then I need to add them. All right, so I'm going to get 2x squared minus 12x. And then when I FOIL over here, I'm going to get x squared, all right, plus 2x minus x minus 2. All right, that's a plus sign there. All right, if this was a minus sign, I'd have to distribute that minus sign to everything there, but it's not. Okay, so I just have to combine my like terms. So 2x squared plus x squared is 3x squared. And then I have negative 12x plus 2x, that's negative 10x, minus x, that's negative 11x. And the only thing left is the minus 2. All right, so my final answer here is 3x squared minus 11x. Let me erase that. That doesn't look too good. Minus 11x There you go, minus 2. All right. So same thing here. Okay, this one's going to be a little bit trickier because of this minus. So let's go ahead and work through it. All right, so I got 3x squared minus 6x. All right, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put that minus sign. Oops. Okay, and then I'm going to put everything that I multiply here when I FOIL this together. I'm going to put it inside here so I know to distribute that negative. All right, so it's going to be 2x squared and then plus 2x minus 10x minus 10. All right, so if I just combine everything in here, simplify this first, 2x squared minus 8x minus 10. All right, and then this just comes straight down, 3x squared minus 6x. And so before I can combine these, now it's just like the subtraction problems from earlier. I need to distribute this negative here. Right, so the 3x squared minus 6x stays the same. But now I need to multiply this negative by everything on the inside. So it becomes negative 2x squared plus 8x plus 10. All right, now combine like terms here. 3x squared minus 2x squared, that's just x squared. Negative 6x plus 8x is 2x. And then the 10. All right, so I get x squared plus 2x plus 10. So again, this negative sign causes a lot of issues. Sometimes you got to remember to distribute, okay, before you combine like terms. All right, so now we're going to watch a video on similar polygons. All right, so we're not going to watch it right here, but you guys will watch it on your own. This is review from geometry. All right, so watch that and take notes. All right, so here it says set up and solve the proportion. So we want to solve for x. All right, so to set this up, all right, you can do it a couple of different ways. You could do the proportions on the same. So if I go, oops, it's too big. I could go 7.5 over 4 equals x over 3.2. All right, so as long as the corresponding parts, right, are both on top, that works. 7.5 corresponds to x, they're both on top, right? So the same shape is 1 ratio over the other shape, all right, with corresponding parts in the same spot. Or you can set up the ratio with the corresponding parts, because 7.5, right, corresponds with the x, and then the 4 corresponds with the 3.2. Now you just have to make sure the same shape is on top, the same shape is on bottom, because if you notice, right, you're still multiplying 7.5 times 3.2, you're still multiplying the 4 times x, all right? So this is how you could set it up either way, all right? And then we need to solve it, okay? So we actually need to multiply these together here. All right, and so we're going to go, to solve proportion, you could just cross multiply. So you're going to get 4x, and then I need to multiply these together here. Let me get a calculator. All right, so 7.5 times 3.2 is 24. All right, so x is going to be 6. All right, and so we just, again, you set up the proportion, and to solve a proportion, you just cross multiply. Now, really the goal is just to get x by itself. So really I could have just multiplied both sides by 3.2, right? So I could have done 7.5 divided by 4 times 3.2, all right? And it would have been the same thing, but just as, you know, as an ease thing to do, we were just taught to cross multiply because that way it doesn't matter where the x is. Like with x on the bottom. Now it is a little bit easier to cross multiply. So again, we're just trying to isolate the x. So whatever techniques, strategies you have to isolate that x, okay, use them. All right, so this one's already set up. All right, so again, if I'm going to multiply this one, okay, I'm going to get t squared equals, then 45 times 5 is 225. And then you got a square root. All right, and so t is going to equal plus or minus 15. Okay, and now obviously it depends if I'm doing a shape, right? There's no backstory to this proportion, but if I was doing a shape, obviously negative wouldn't work because the side of its shape couldn't be negative, right? So you just have to pay attention to that. Right now, there's no context behind this, so you're going to put both answers, plus or minus 15 work, all right? But if this was, we're trying to solve for missing sides of similar shapes, it would only be positive 15. All right, so again, all right, so we're going to cross multiply. Again, so like this is another one. I could just multiply both sides by 6, right, and get x minus 2 equals 10. All right, so let me do that here. So instead of cross multiply, I'm just going to multiply both sides by 6. Because again, my goal is to get the x by itself, right? There's only one x here. So if I multiply both sides by 6, obviously it cancels out there, right? 3 goes into 6 times 2 times, right? So I'm just going to get x minus 2 equals 10. Add 2 to both sides, and x equals 12. All right. So that's another way to do it. Again, I could have cross multiplied, but just a little bit easier. I could have got common denominators, multiply this by 2 over 2, got 10 over 6, then the 6 don't matter. Lots of ways to solve that. All right, so here, again, here you might want to cross multiply. Again, you might just want to multiply this side by 2 over 2, all right, to get that common denominator, and then multiply both sides by 6, so it cancels out. So it's the same thing. So if I just multiply both sides by 6, all right, we'll see that that cancels out, and then that just becomes a 2. All right, and so I'm left with x minus 2, and make sure you distribute this over here. You got to distribute it. All right, so that's 6x plus 8. All right, and then get the x by itself. So I'm going to subtract x. So I get 5x on this side. I'm going to subtract 8. I'm going to get negative 10 on this side. So x equals negative 2. All right, and so there's our little review of solving proportions and operations on polynomials.